Hi, my name is Raman Virpin. I'm a full-time medical doctor, and I've also been a home bartender for the past 5 years. During that time, I've learned how to make over 100 different cocktails, and I've thrown over 50 cocktail parties. And now I help other busy professionals master home bartending. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make 5 different sour cocktails using just the 7 ingredients that I have here. All total cost of these 7 ingredients is about $100. So this is a common problem that a lot of home bartenders face. And I personally know because this is a problem that I also face. And this is one of the reasons I didn't even get into home bartending the first 2 or 3 times I really wanted to. Because this is such a big barrier of how to really build out your bar. It's a very common question. And the best answer that I can give to people is to just start with one cocktail. It can be one cocktail that you really like, or in the case of this video, and even my channel in general, the cocktail that I started this channel with, and the cocktail that I'm going to be starting this video with is the Daiquri. I think it's a great first cocktail. If you don't really know what cocktail to start with, go with that one. And then once you start with that one cocktail, a lot of cocktails fall into different families. So by just changing 1, maybe 2 ingredients, you can get from one cocktail to a completely different cocktail. So then if you just buy the ingredients for the Daiquri, which is rum, lime juice, and simple syrup, and then all you do after that is you change the rum to gin, like I have here, then you can get a gin gimlet. And that's a completely different cocktail, but all you had to do was add 1 more bottle to your collection. And when you do this, you can build up slowly, and that's how you really build your collection. And this video is a great way for me to demonstrate that to you guys, because with the 5 cocktails here, every cocktail is going to be just 1 ingredient different from the previous cocktail. So by just making 1 swap, you go from 1 cocktail to the second, and then you swap another ingredient, you get to the third. You swap another ingredient, you get to the 4th, and then you swap another ingredient, and you get to the 5th cocktail. And all 5 of these cocktails are made using just these 7 ingredients here. These 3 liquors, white rum, gin, bourbon, and then the 2 citrus juices I have here. This is the lime juice and then lemon juice, and then the 2 sweeteners, simple syrup and honey syrup. For the exact bottles I'm using in this video, this is the Havana Club. A couple other great options are Plantaray 3-Star and the Florida Caña. Now, Beefeater by far is the best beginner gin because it's very affordable and it works in a wide variety of cocktails. It's in the London Dry family. And for the bourbon here, I'm using my favorite, which is the 4 Roses small batch. But you can also just use the regular 4 Roses. This is about mid-30s in price, $35, $36. But the regular 4 Roses is only about $25, $26. So these 3 ingredients, these are both in about the 20 to 23 range. If you get the regular version of 4 Roses, that's $25, $26. So even if you add taxes, and even if you adjust maybe for where you live, if you live in a more expensive part of the country, you can get all of these for about $75, maybe $80, depending on if you live in a more expensive place. For the 2 citrus juices I have here, this is the Nelly & Joe's Key West Lime Juice, and then the Santa Cruz Organic Lemon Juice, my 2 go-tos that I've been using for years. These 2 bottles, usually about $3, $4, depending on which grocery store you go to. Then this is my own homemade simple syrup. But first 2 years of my journey, I used store-bought simple syrup, usually about $3 to $4 a bottle. And then honey syrup, there is no store-bought version, but you would just buy regular honey and then combine it with hot water in a ratio of 3 parts honey to 1 part water. I'll probably do a separate video on this channel regarding that, but there's tons of other videos you can watch on YouTube also that show you how to make that. The total cost of these 2 ingredients is going to be about $8, $9. These 2 is another $8, well, just being on the conservative side. So total cost of all of these ingredients is going to be just under $100. And you know, I don't know exactly where you guys live, but for me personally, I live in Las Vegas. If I was to go to any of the major casinos in Las Vegas and try to order drinks for $100, I might only get, if you include tax and tips, probably only going to get about 3 cocktails, sometimes 4, and if you're really pushing it, maybe 5, but I kind of doubt that. And that's probably true in London, New York, Toronto, Chicago, any of these like bigger cities where drinks are going to be expensive. So for just $100, you can make 5 different cocktails at home. And not only can you just make 5 of them, you can also make multiple versions of each one. So that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do in this video. We're going to be going through how to make all 5 of these cocktails. And let's just get right into it. This is going to be unedited, so in between each cocktail, I'm going to be using the kitchen sink behind me to rinse out my jigger and my cocktail shaker, just so you don't. So this is how you would see it if you. That's the way, really the way I want to do this. So the way this video is going to look is like if you and 4 friends came to one of my parties, came to my home bar, and you ordered these 5 drinks, this is how it would look. So let's go ahead and start with the first drink. That's going to be the Daiquri, which is what I recommend as the first cocktail that most people should make. It's the first video on my channel for that reason. So that's going to call for rum, lime juice, and simple syrup. And we're going to make this very easy. The ratios for all 5 of these drinks are exactly the same. It's going to be 2 ounces of liquor, and then 3/4 ounce citrus juice, 3/4 ounce of the sweetener. So for this drink, the Daiquri, it's going to be 2 ounces of rum, 3/4 of an ounce of lime juice, and then 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. And what you do is you take a couple ice cubes, add it to the other half of the shaker tin. Combine everything together, give it a good seal, and then shake for about 8 to 10 seconds, or 8 to 12 seconds. Then we'll go ahead and pour this into the first glass. There you have it, the Daiquri. Now for the next drink, all we're going to be doing is we're going to be keeping the lime juice and simple syrup the same, and we're just going to be swapping the rum to the Beefeater gin that I have here. And before I do that, I'm going to be rinsing out everything. Rinse out the jigger as well. So now we can start with the next drink, the gin Gimlet. So that's going to call for 2 ounces of the gin here. Then as with the Daiquri, it's going to call for 3/4 ounce each of lime juice and simple syrup. So 3/4 ounce lime juice. Then 3/4 of an ounce of simple syrup. Once again, 2 ice cubes into the bigger tin. Combine everything together, give it a good seal, shake for about 8 to 12 seconds. There you have it, the gin Gimlets. Now for the next ingredient, or next drink I mean, we're going to be keeping the gin and the lime juice and the simple syrup are going to be swapped out. So the lime juice is going to be swapped out for lemon juice, and then the simple syrup is going to be swapped out for honey syrup. So we are, this one is a little bit different because we're actually swapping 2 ingredients, but we are keeping the spirit the exact same. So before we do that, we're going to be rinsing out the shaker tin again. Rinse out the jigger as well. And then let's get into making the bee's knees. So it's going to call for 2 ounces of gin. Then now we're moving on from lime juice to lemon juice. So 3/4 of an ounce of the lemon juice that I have here. This bottle is a bit stuck, but I have a tool that helps me open that. It's important to have one of these things in case your bottles get stuck, especially when your hands get wet with ice and things like that. So just 3/4 of an ounce of the lemon juice. And then finally, 3/4 of an ounce. Now we're moving on from the simple syrup to the honey syrup. And that's how this drink gets its name, the bee's knees, because it has honey syrup. Once again, 2 ice cubes to the bigger tin. Give it a good seal. Shake for about 8 to 12 seconds. Empty out everything into the glass below. There you have it, the bee's knees. Now to move on to the next drink, that one's going to be called the Gold Rush. So we're going to be keeping actually the lemon juice and the honey syrup the exact same, and we're just moving on from the gin to the bourbon that I have here. So before we do that, once again, we're going to rinse out everything. So this drink is going to call for 2 ounces of bourbon. As you can see, all these drinks have the exact same ratio: 2 ounces of liquor, 3/4 of an ounce of citrus juice, and 3/4 of an ounce of sweetener. So 2 ounces of bourbon. And 3/4 of an ounce of the Santa Cruz lemon juice. And to finish off the Gold Rush, just 3/4 of an ounce of the honey syrup. Once again, 2 ice cubes to the larger tin. Combine everything, give it a good seal, and once again, shake for about 8 to 12 seconds. Pour everything directly into the glass. There you have it, the Gold Rush. Now for the final drink, we're going to be keeping the whiskey and actually the lemon juice the same, and all we're doing is we're moving from the honey syrup back to the simple syrup. And that's what gives you a whiskey sour, a very classic cocktail. So before we do that, once again, rinse out the shaker. Rinse out the jigger as well. And this drink is going to be 2 ounces of bourbon. Three-quarters of an ounce of lemon juice. And then with the Gold Rush, we were using the honey syrup, but actually for the whiskey sour, we're going to be using the simple syrup that I have here. 3/4 of an ounce of that. Once again, 2 ice cubes to the larger tin. Combine everything together. Give it a good seal. And once again, shake for about 8 to 12 seconds. Unlock the tin. and then pour everything out into the glass. There you have it, the whiskey sour. So in this video, I showed you how to make 5 different sours: the Daiquri, the Gin Gimlet, the Bee's Knees, the Gold Rush, and the whiskey sour. And going from one ingredient to the next, from here to here, you just swapped. So this is rum, lime juice, simple syrup. Swap the rum to gin, and then you get the Gin Gimlet. Then you swap the lime for lemon, and you swap the simple syrup for honey syrup, and you go from the Gin Gimlet to the Bee's Knees. Then you swap the gin for bourbon, and you go from the Bee's Knees to the Gold Rush. And then finally, you swap the honey syrup for simple syrup, and you go from the Gold Rush to the whiskey sour. 5 sour drinks, just 7 ingredients here, and total cost of all these ingredients about $90 to $100. And for that, you learn how to make this many drinks. So there you have it, the Daiquri, the Gin Gimlet, the Bee's Knees, the Gold Rush, and the whiskey sour. And I showed you how to make it relatively simple way, and this is how you really build up your bar. You start with a family of drinks like sours, and I'll be doing future videos going forward for other families of drinks. And that's how you can just take one base template and really learn how to make all these other things. As you notice, they all had the same template too. They all use 2 ounces of liquor. They all use 3/4 of an ounce of lime or lemon juice. They all use 3/4 of an ounce of the syrup. So that's how you really learn how all these different recipes. With just that one template, you learned 5 different cocktail recipes. And that's really how you build up as a home bartender. You start with 1, you learn something very similar, and then you have 2, and then so on and so forth. And in this video, I showed you how to actually go from 1 all the way up to 5. So next time you're throwing a cocktail party and you don't want to go too crazy, have too many different ingredients and things like that, you can really throw in a cocktail party with you don't even have to do all 5 of these. You can just do 3 of them. Or you can just do even just the 2 whiskey ones and then maybe this one. So this is even easier. The Bee's Knees, the Gold Rush, and the whiskey sour, all you need for that are honey syrup, simple syrup, lime juice, gin, and bourbon. So just 5 of the 7 ingredients. You don't need the lime or the rum, and you can do a perfectly good party, even with just 2 or even with just 1. So I hope you guys all learned something from this video. This is a big problem that I face as a home bartender on my journey, how to build up your bar, how to memorize so many different recipes, all that. And I've made this video on purpose to try and make everything more simple for you all that are on your home bartending journey. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and cheers.